So I really never truly understood what love was, right? I remember I had a conversation with a friend like a year ago, and I remember telling him that there's no such thing as unconditional love, right? And I feel like to our human minds, the concept of unconditional love doesn't truly make sense, right? Because as humans, we tend to place conditions on everything. Everything is conditional to us, right? So when someone says that love is unconditional, it never really makes sense to us. But after I lived another year and I gained a bit more understanding as it pertains to life, I truly began to realize that real love, right, divine love, it is truly unconditional. Something happened to me recently, and I really saw someone that has been in my life for all of my life for the first time, right? I truly saw them for the first time just the other day. And when I say I saw them, what I mean is that I saw them through the eyes of a child. I looked at them and all the judgment, all the preconceived notions, all the things that I attached to them, it truly began to go away, right? And in that moment, that's when I really began to truly love that person. I thought I loved them for most of my life, but what I realized is that I didn't really love them because when I looked at them, all I looked at them and I saw, for the most part, were their flaws, right? Were their imperfections. And I really think understanding and presence is the tool that removes our judgment and our preconceived notions. And instead of seeing, the faults and the flaws of a person, instead of recognizing and only seeing their faults and their flaws, understanding and presence allows us to see beyond all of that and truly begin to recognize their soul. And I think at the core of every single one of us, right, at the soul of every single one of us, all there truly is love, right? All there truly is divine love. And it's not until we come into this world that, we sort of turn our backs on love, right? It's not until we have certain negative experiences that we truly begin to sort of turn our backs on love, and we truly begin to see ourselves as flawed and imperfect, right? But if you were to look at a child that has come into this world, right, that child is literally, the embodiment of love, right? Pure and divine love. That's what a child is. And that's the nature of who we truly are. But very often when we look at ourselves and when we look at other people, all we see are imperfections. All we see are our flaws. And once we truly begin to develop a sense of understanding, once we truly begin to develop a sense of presence and we allow, our past experiences of this person or of ourselves to fall to the wayside, that's when love truly begins to blossom. And that's why someone like Jesus, for example, right? A lot of y'all probably watching this are Christian or whatever. That's why someone such as Jesus, he never truly condemned anyone. A lot of people say Jesus forgives, but Jesus never truly forgave anyone because forgiveness can only be given after someone is condemned, right? And he never truly condemned anyone. So to say that Jesus forgives is truly a misconception. Jesus never forgave anyone because he never truly judged anyone, right? And Jesus was able to look beyond the faults and the flaws of people that he came in contact with, right? He was able to look beyond, their imperfections. And, instead of recognizing that, he was able to recognize their soul. He was able to see beyond their faults, their flaws and their faults, and truly recognize their soul, truly recognize the love that was in every single person, right? And he recognized himself in every single one of us, right? Because love is the force that connects us all. Love is the nature of who we truly are. And understanding, presence, seeing the person is a in the present moment allows us to remove our judgments and truly begin to see the love and the soul of every single one of us, right? And very often, we sort of allow ourselves to be sort of defined by this world. Very often, we allow ourselves to attach all these labels onto us, right? And a lot of us go through life and we feel powerless. We feel helpless. We feel as if there's something truly wrong with us, right? And the truth is that that is all a mask that we've allowed ourselves to adopt from the world, right? That's truly a mask that we're all wearing, right? We're all wearing these masks, and we've allowed the mask that we wear to become real in our minds. But once you allow yourself to be in the present moment, once you truly allow yourself to truly understand not only yourself but other people, every single mask that we wear falls to the wayside. Every single mask that we put on falls to the side, right? And all that blossoms after the mask that we wear and the mask that we see on other people, all that blossoms after that is love and compassion. Is recognizing that we are not our experiences. Is recognizing that we are not the stories that we continue to tell ourselves. Is recognizing that the person that you see, that you judge continuously, the person that you see that you think is so flawed and such a bad person, that they truly aren't a bad person at their core. They're truly only people who have allowed themselves to turn their backs on love. That's truly what it is. And I remember reading this book called The Three Magic Words recently, and the author said something like, there are only two people in this world, right? Two types of people in this world. There are those who are walking in love, and then there are people who have turned their backs on love. But ultimately, both of those people, they are one and the same. They are the same thing. It truly is just based on the choices that we've made, whether consciously or unconsciously. And once you begin to understand this, once you begin to see this, all your judgments of yourself and other people, it goes away. All of it goes away. I really believe that this world would be a much better place if we truly took the time to not only understand ourselves, first of all, but we truly took the time to understand other people. The world would be a much better place if a lot of us didn't judge so much. If a lot of us took the time to try to understand each other and understand ourselves, the world will be a much better place, right? A lot of people that you see that you label as a bad person, a lot of people that you see that you judge, they truly just feel broken inside. There are people that are living their lives in fear and anxiety, right? And deep down, what they really need is love. What they really need is help. What they really need is compassion. What they really need is empathy, right? That's what they truly need. It's not so much that they're bad. No one in this world by nature is truly a bad person, right? There's this concept that people oftentimes spew around, and people very often say that human nature is bad, right? And that's a fallacy. Human nature is love. Human nature is pure, it's compassion, it's kindness, right? If you were to look at a child, like I said, you begin to realize that that child is a perfect embodiment of love, and that's who we truly are. That is human nature. It is the conditioned human nature, or the conditioned, I guess, human experience that begins to take a different form, right? It's our experiences that we allow to shape us into the complete opposite of what love is. And that's why understanding is so important. That's why awareness is so important. This person that has been in my life for a very long while, I, and this is probably going to sound harsh, but I never truly loved them, right? I never truly saw them, right? You might think you love a person, but once you get to the essence of truly seeing that person, once your heart is open and your judgment falls apart, you really begin to realize that what you've been calling love for a long while truly isn't love. And in my last video, I said that if you truly love someone, right? If you truly love them, then you don't have the need to change that person, right? And obviously that came off a bit odd to some people, right? But essentially what I was saying is that once you truly begin to love a person, you begin to accept them whether or not they are trying to make a change. You might hope they make a change, right? You might say, okay, I see this person is not living according to how I know they can live. I see that they're living, with a lot of anger, a lot of, resentment, a lot of, hurt, etc., etc. And I want the best for them, so I really hope they change, right? You might say that, but ultimately, it's not your responsibility to change that person. When it comes down to change, change is something that is a personal choice. Change is something that we have to decide, you know, for ourselves, right? Change begins with us making a choice, right? So you can look at a person and you can say that I hope they change, but you don't allow the love that you give to them. You don't allow the love that you reflect to them. You don't allow it to be dependent on whether or not they change or not, right? Whether or not they choose to change or whether or not they remain the same person, right? Your love truly never changes. Your love for them remains the same, right? And even if this is a person that you don't, you know, want to keep as a part of your life, if you see them as a person who you feel as if it's gonna become or is a hindrance to your life, right, and you decide to let them go, then ultimately you can let them go with that same love as well. Love knows when to let go and love knows when to hold on because love is sensitivity to the present moment. You can let someone go with love. You can look at a person and you can say, I love you at the bottom of my heart, But in order for me to grow, in order for me to become the person that I know I can become, I really have to let you go. But I'm not letting you go out of anger, hatred, or resentment. I'm letting you go out of love. And I understand that at this point in your life, you're not truly seen well. Your heart isn't open. You're living in fear, you're living in anxiety, you're living in anger. I understand that, right? And once you're ready to make a change, once you're ready to be the person that I know you can be, I'm here for you. But I won't allow you to drag me down. I won't allow you to be a hindrance to my life and to my growth. But my love for you will never truly change. And that's love as well. Sometimes love is walking away from a person. Sometimes love is choosing yourself in the moment, right? Love isn't always holding on. Love knows when to truly let go. And I'm really beginning to understand that, right? The more I live, the more I really understand, what love truly is. I think very often we sort of have you know, this incessant need to hold on to people, right? We have this incessant need to cling on to people, right? And I'm recognizing that sometimes making the hard choice for yourself is the best choice. That's what I'm really recognizing. And there's truly no point going through life with hatred and, resentment and, judgment in your heart. There's truly no point in doing that. Because at the end of the day, you might think that you're hurting someone else whenever you hold on to this hurt and this anger and this resentment. But in reality, you're truly only hurting yourself. You are the only person that you're hurting whenever you hold on to this anger and resentment, right? You're the only person that you're hurting. Life is a lot more enjoyable when we go through life with an open heart. Life is a lot more enjoyable and we get the best out of life when we're walking in love, when we're walking in compassion, when we're walking in understanding, right? When we find it in ourselves to forgive those who have wronged us, when we find it in our heart to understand that whenever people do bad things, whenever people make certain decisions, they're truly doing it from a state of fear, from a state of anger, right? From their own internal limitations, right? And once you begin to understand that, you begin to realize that you holding on to all those negative feelings towards them, you're truly only hurting yourself. And allowing yourself to be free of that burden, allowing yourself to let it all go, that's when we truly begin to walk in love. That's when love truly blossoms from understanding, right? From understanding that they're not walking in their true nature. And there's no point in holding on to all that hurt and all that resentment because that is going to deter us from walking in our true nature as well. So, yeah, I'm really starting to truly understand more and more what love is. And love is truly the force that connects us all. Love at our core is truly who we are. Feel like it's about to rain. So yeah, if you have someone in your life that you've been holding on to anger and resentment and all these negative feelings towards that person, or if you have those feelings towards yourself, feeling of judgment towards yourself, then you need to try to understand not only that person, but you need to understand yourself as well. And you need to try to see beyond, your preconceived notions of this person or yourself, and really begin to realize that any person that we judge, we're truly just judging their conditioned state. Any person that has done us wrong is truly just a person who has turned their backs on love, and they're truly not themselves. And with that understanding, with that presence, with trying to see that person or see yourself in the present moment, that's when love begins to blossom. That's when you truly begin to love. Because love can only blossom in the present moment. As long as you're holding on to the past and you're looking at others and yourself through the lens of the past, then the only thing that will truly, you know, take place, the only thing that will truly perpetuate is our judgments and our fears and our internal limitations. But through understanding, through presence, through awareness, love begins to blossom. And instead of seeing the faults and the flaws of other people, we look beyond their faults and their flaws, and we really begin to recognize their soul. And you really begin to see that their soul, oh shit, is really one with your soul as well. And that's what the world truly needs, right? The love truly needs more understanding, more presence, more compassion, and more love. That's what the world truly needs. The world doesn't need more judgment and resentment and anger, because the world is how it is simply because of those things. The world is just a bunch of people who are trying to cure the world, or who are trying to go to the world and take action from the wrong place. And love is surely the only right place to take action from. Any action that isn't taken from a state of love, from a state of compassion, from a state of understanding, is only going to make things, relationships, right, and the world a worse place. That's it. So yeah, thank you guys for being here with me. It's probably not going to be a too long of a video, but all I'm essentially saying is this: try to reserve your judgments for yourselves and others as much as possible. Try to see beyond their faults and their flaws as much as possible, and try to be present with that person or yourself, right? And open yourself up to love, because love is always waiting to be expressed. But very often we cover that love up because of our judgment, because of our fears, because of our hatred, because of our anger. But once you open yourself up to love through understanding, that's when it truly begins to blossom. So yeah, take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace and blessings.